Hey guys, welcome to this video. By the end of this video, what I want to have done and what you would have achieved by watching this is you're going to know exactly how to productize your marketing agency, consultancy, social media marketing agency. I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean by productizing it, if it's something that you've not considered before. Now, as far as I'm aware, this has not really been done before. I've not seen anybody else in the space doing this. There are a lot of reasons of why I ended up productizing my social media marketing agency, which I'll go into just in a screen share here. But like the last few videos, it's going to be totally no frills. So I'm not going to do any fancy editing here. It's just going to be a straight up screen share. If you are interested in getting new clients, if you're interested in client acquisition, finding new and novel ways that have been field tested and actually used by real people, then you're going to want to subscribe to the channel and just keep in touch, because I've not produced any content before other than the last couple of videos, and I plan to release a lot more about my experience in the client acquisition space over the last 5 years. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump in here. Now, when I talk about productizing, okay, so when you first start a social media marketing agency, the way you operate that business is going to be relatively routine. And what I mean by that is that whether you are a year in or 5 years in or 3 years in, the way that the business runs and is optimized is going to be pretty similar. Okay, so you're going to have, hopefully you're going to have a way to get the attention of your clients, obviously through your marketing. You're going to have a machine for inbound and outbound lead generation. You're going to have a team of sales guys who are going to be closing deals for you. You're going to have also your team who manages service delivery. And then obviously you as a business owner, you're responsible for the vision, pushing the business forward to the place where you want it to be. Okay, so that framework is not something that's uncommon, okay? And all good businesses and agencies in the space will be the ones that get the most attention, get the best clients, and have the best systems that they can then repeat, okay? So they create a bit of a self-fulfilling business. It's cyclical in the way it works. They know that when they get a new client that they can predict lifetime value of that client, how many referrals they're going to get from that client, and so on and so forth. But the issue with running an agency is once you look past the dream, running an agency can actually be incredibly stressful. And this is exactly what I found running my email marketing agency, where I didn't really have the ability to detach myself from work. I guess I, was a complete workaholic. I couldn't compartmentalize my personal life and actually my work and business life. I found that hiring staff, getting results for our clients, all of those things always weighed on me heavily. And even though we, were going for 5 years, just over 5 years, and the fact that we got and generated very, very good results in terms of tangible revenue for our clients, I myself was stressed all the time. Now, through that journey, I learned a lot about myself. I was able to develop my management and leadership skills to the point where I'm at now, where I do not have that stress, which is great. But I also learned that the nature of the business is such that you will always have these recurring stressors in your life managing these agencies. Okay, so an example of this is clients. Okay, so I'm going to just put some tabs in here. I'm going to just put some sticky notes in here just to represent the difference here. Okay, so clients and lack of clients causes a lot of headache for agency owners, whether you're just starting out, whether you've been going a few years. Okay, so putting client acquisition to one side for a moment. Managing clients, having the right staff in place to manage clients is an art, and it takes time, dependent on your offer, dependent on your service and your brand and where you're operating, depending on the culture you're in, the country, the way that you manage clients, how demanding they are, the types of boundaries you're able to set with them is going to differ based on all of those factors. So one of the things with running an agency is that you will inevitably have clients that you take on, whether you are charging them high ticket or not, oftentimes doesn't quite matter. They will always want to demand your time. Okay, so typically what we see is that the higher paying clients, the ones that are liquid cash, they've got a good business, they have a strong vision, they're professional. Those are the guys that will let you do your job and they'll pay you on time. But inevitably, managing lots of clients on the go will always lead to them trying to pull you away from your primary focus and what you're doing as a founder, to getting on calls with them, trying to arrange your team to jump on calls with them, helping your team answer questions, and all sorts. So it puts an incredible strain on top of your operations and what you're already delivering within your service delivery framework. Okay, so talking about service delivery. Now, if you've never run an agency and you don't know what you're doing, you obviously have to learn service delivery. We would argue don't actually learn service delivery, learn client acquisition and find individuals and hire them who can actually deliver the service that you are selling. But that's a video for another day. But here with these two things here, client management and service delivery is obviously very nuanced. Okay, so this is what you and your team are going to be spending a lot of time doing throughout your days. You're going to have to be constantly feeding back to the client. If you're not getting the results that you've promised, there's going to be issues. Even if you are getting big results, if you've not done a good enough job to set expectations with that client about the results that they can get in the time frame, then there's also going to be issues. Okay, so we've had it in the past where, and what I'll do here is just jump on to our agency website as it was, and despite the fact that we had tons of case studies, tons of clear tangible increases in revenue and progression for our clients, if we didn't set expectations enough or correctly, or didn't build the relationship deep enough with the client at that expectation setting stage, then regardless of how much money we were making, there was always additional conversations that had to be had about their visions and ultimately goal posts moving, okay, and KPIs changing on the go. So we've talked a little bit about these already. I'll just throw in staffing here. And what I'm doing is just painting a picture here about the stressors. What else have we got? Delays is one. Okay. And what I'm doing, like I say, is just painting a picture of the stresses of running an agency. Okay, so billing is another one. And these are all things that you can obviously optimize. We help a lot of our clients optimize these within their businesses anyway, because you can't be in this game without generating results, without getting case studies, without optimizing your billing. Okay, so things like everybody's familiar with Stripe and subscription billing and charging their clients, but how protected are you and your business against chargebacks? Okay, so what if you work with a client and you've worked with them for 12 months and everything's hunky-dory, and then you roll into the 13th month, you deliver all the work for them, you get them results, and they just refuse to pay you. So through Stripe, you bill them, and then they issue a fraudulent chargeback. Okay, so there's all these things that you won't anticipate unless you are in the trenches and actually doing this. Okay, so what we realized was that regardless of systemizing the whole agency, instead of taking calls every day, instead of having emails, WhatsApps, texts, calls coming through to my personal number, and in favor of consolidating that through one communication channel and simplifying every avenue possible, we still were constricted by the confines of actually how the business and the industry works. Okay, so what we realized, and when I say we, it's really me, what I realized was that I wasn't happy operating a business like that. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with running an agency. It's made me a lot of money. It's been a great way to start a business, become an entrepreneur. Obviously, there's thousands of people around the world that have successful agencies. But if you're not happy, doing it yourself or managing a team that does it, attending calls, constantly pitching to new clients to try and satisfy your churn rate, all of these variables that can oftentimes be largely out of your control, then it's your responsibility to change how you do and how you operate your business. Okay, so when I was looking at my business, the reason I switched over to productizing it was that I literally got to a point that no matter how seamless our frameworks were and our SOPs were, no matter how good our staff were, no matter the results we were getting for our clients, literally the money we were making for them, I had got to a point where I was so stressed and dissatisfied with the vision of my business and what it was in actuality that I basically built a negative feedback loop that was preventing me getting new clients. And I literally didn't want any new clients because I knew that every time we signed a new client, my stress levels would increase. And at that point in time, I didn't have any more gas in the tank. I had nowhere to go. And so I was in a really, really difficult position, one I recommend everybody, avoids, in that something that's very positive and, indeed core and integral to your business actually making money, which is getting new clients, that can't be something that is built into your brain as a negative. Okay, so it's something that I'll talk about in another video because we're already 10 minutes in now. But what I'm going to just shoot over to here is is this diagram here. And for those of you who aren't familiar, this is Alex Hormozi's value equation. Okay, so most of you guys will know what this is. You'll understand what a good offer is. Basically, just a breakdown here is that the value of the product or service that you're selling is dependent on a sort of mathematical equation here between 4 variables, one being the dream outcome that your clients get from or the customer gets from the product or the service, which is multiplied by their perceived likelihood of actually achieving that. Okay, so you could have something that's got a really, really high value outcome, but actually they don't think they can get it, so it's going to lower the value of your offer, which is represented over a anticipated time delay and perceived effort and sacrifice. Okay, so if there's a really lengthy time delay, and also if the client or customer thinks that they are going to have to put in effort and sacrifice that they don't have to give, then it's going to again devalue what you're doing and they're not going to buy it from you. Okay, so one thing we realized at the time was that although our offer was good, and you can see it go onto our homepage here. Oh, it's over here. So we had a good offer. Most in this niche, most email marketing agencies you'll see online will be saying, if you're not generating 30% of your monthly recurring revenue through email, we will do that for your business through email and SMS. That is the most common offer that's out there in the market with email marketing. It's something that I cringe at every time because it's, there's so many people just pushing forward that lazy offer. And the reason they do that is because one of the main email service providers, Klaviyo, is that's basically their sales pitch. So these guys are building out frameworks on Klaviyo and they're basically replicating Klaviyo's offer indirectly. Okay, so we realized that our results increased, our conversions increased from all of our discovery and our sales calls through changing our offer. We tried different ones before this one, but this one is the one that we A/B tested and landed on, and it worked the best. But what we found was that regardless of how good the offer was, we had to still be happy with the back end. Okay, so getting clients wasn't a problem, but actually enjoying what we were doing and not stressing about what we're doing was, or it was indeed, at least for me. And I simply just didn't enjoy it. And I realized that trying to get clients to pay you $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month or $2,500 a month, trying to get them on a 3-month contract, 6-month, 12-month contract, specifically for email marketing, wasn't actually the most value that was available for the client. So we realized, and what I'm going to do is just jump into one of the client Klaviyo accounts we've got here. Like I say, Klaviyo is their email service provider. And we realized that, and for those of you who don't know anything about email marketing, what email marketing agencies do is basically integrate a email service provider with an e-commerce store. So Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, or Wix, there's others too. They then build out a network of flows, which are automations, campaigns, which are one-off email sends, and then basically integrate them within a bit of a ecosystem of sign-up forms, A/B testing, reporting, and segmentation. Okay, so what we realized was that when we built our infrastructure for our traditional email marketing clients, once that infrastructure was built, it was built. And we found that the clients that we were working with were in a relatively narrow selection of verticals. So we didn't have just one niche, but we had built a bit of a specialism working with e-commerce brands that had not only consumers as their target audience, but also trade clients as well. So they had a mixture of B2B and B2C, which a lot of e-commerce brands don't. They're direct to consumer. And that's what all of these ESPs are built for, Klaviyo is built for. Okay, so we realized that once the infrastructure was actually built, which our team did, we had a team of 5, then what we were able to do was actually replicate the the lion's share of that infrastructure and clone it into new client accounts pretty much instantly. And then with a remaining sort of 25% of our effort spent on customization, making sure that it's bespoke and obviously tailored to that client account, we realized that actually we were able to move from offering a typical service-based offer to something that could be much more productized, and as we called it, a system. Okay, so here you're going to see how our offer from the agency then was pivoted to an offer here for a productized service. We were able to incorporate a number of different elements into this offer, of which we help our clients currently do with Acquisition Partner. And the way that we were able to do this, and in fact, actually the outcome of being able to productize what we do, meant that we were not only able to earn a lot more money per client, we were actually able to reduce our operational strain by, I think it was at least 85%. Okay, so everything from onboarding to account management, reporting, literally was the result of a click of a button, as opposed to having to have bi-weekly calls and submitting reports, tapering strategy, customizing copy, all of that sort of thing. So we learned that with the email agency and what we had built within that on the back end, on the service delivery side, we were actually able to package that into a system that we were able to bill clients upfront for a one-off payment. And then equally on the back end, we were still able to upsell those clients monthly ongoing management as if we were operating a traditional agency. Okay, so through doing by offering a productized service, we went from having to say to clients, in order to guarantee our monthly recurring revenue, look, we need to be on a 12-month contract here. That's how long we need to build an in-depth strategy. You're going to have X account manager, James will be your account manager. Every time your account manager then change, it causes issues for that client, a lack of trust. And what we found that was by switching that into a system, we were basically able to build and launch everything an e-commerce brand will ever need indefinitely from an email and SMS perspective overnight. Okay, so our offer instantly, literally overnight, became 1,000 times more valuable to e-commerce brands because we were charging less than marketing agencies. We weren't locking them into contracts. We were delivering everything a marketing agency would promise to deliver, but oftentimes fail to deliver in 7 to 12 months. We were able to do it in 24 hours. And we were able to do that because our systems in place, once they had paid and purchased this system, were fully automated and systemized. Okay, so once they paid, we weren't operating as an agency. And an example of that, I'll just write it down here. It's contracts. Okay, so how many times have you gone to a client? You've had your intro call, you've had a sales call, a demo call, you've then got your team to follow up with them. You've then sent them a payment link and you've tried to close them and they nitpick over the contract. Okay, well, the way that we do it with a product size service, because they're buying a system and a product that they will have immediate access to, once they pay for it, they sign a contract and not least an NDA so that they can't repeat and share and replicate what we're doing and what our core value is. But there's absolutely no room for negotiation on the contract. Okay, so it's another implementation here and a difference between running an agency and running a productized service. What else are we going to write here? We're going to write 85% reduction in operational stress. Okay, more money. And what happened was getting new clients actually became fun again. Okay, so when you first start your business and you get that first client, I remember my first client was a client that I was doing copywriting for, £500 a month for a local business, and it felt incredible because I got a new client. As I got deeper into the agency space, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, getting new clients actually became stressful for me. And I kind of built a feedback loop that I was negatively incentivized to pursue, basically. So what happened here was that getting clients became fun, and it became more fun because I knew they couldn't demand my time or my team's time at the drop of a hat. We weren't going to have to do constant calls with them where they would question what we're doing, even if we were getting results. What we had pitched them and built for them had been clearly defined, expectations had been clearly set and matched. They knew exactly what they were paying for. We'd got payment up front, so there was stress-free billing. Everything that we did was replicable. Okay, so when we took on new clients, we didn't have to change everything that we were doing. All of our onboarding, all of our internal systems stayed the same. All we'd have to do is simply clone across infrastructure and then inevitably go through our sort of proprietary customization process. But like I say, the process and the friction between getting clients and delivering the service went from 100% to 0%. Okay, so it just made everything a lot more enjoyable. And actually, clients got a lot more value, high value, and the team, my team, were empowered because we were able to, I'm trying to talk right here, we were able to really position ourselves as a one of one. Okay, so when we went to prospects, when we had our sales calls, it got to the point where we were no longer the seller, we were actually the buyer. And what that means is that we could be very, very choosy and selecting based on the clients that we actually wanted. And the ones that we were sort of marginally indifferent to were ones that we could sort of try and price out of the service. We could increase the price, see if they balked at it, and if they didn't take it, it's fine, but if they did, then that additional price is going to cover any sort of perceived headache that we might have in the future. So I hope that gives you a bit of a breakdown of how I was able to do it. Obviously here I've showed you a little bit about how our offer differed from the agency to then the productized service we were delivering. Talked to you a little bit about the flows and the infrastructure we built within our ecosystem. So this is obviously different for Facebook ads and TikTok or short form content, but it can be done. Like I say, if you've got any questions about this, just drop a comment below. I need to make a lot more videos on this because I've already been talking for over 20 minutes and there's just so much information that I can actually just brain dump and give you guys, and you can implement in what you're doing. So what I'd say is, if you are stressed, if you are growing disenfranchised with the agency model, don't give up on it. It might be time to consolidate what you're doing and productize your offer. And this framework here is going to show you exactly how you can do that. All right, guys, so that's it for this video. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. It's a new channel. I've never produced content before. And I'm hopefully going to drop a load more value upcoming, lots of screen shares and in-depth videos like this for you. All right, guys, hope that helps, and we'll speak soon.